Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whichever is appropriate for the time of day you are watching this video. Welcome to the show. And if you don't think that introduction was appropriate for you, then I don't think we're going to get along very well in this series. Yes, this show will be taking things from our daily lives to discuss, to dissect, and potentially even destroy. At least destroy in our minds. Some of these things are literally impossible to destroy. They're concepts. Anyway, each episode will be something different, and I'll start each subsequent video with the result of the vote from the last episode. That's right, it's up to you. Basically, at the end of the episode, I'll throw it open to the public, and you can decide whether the thing in question should continue in our daily lives, or whether you think it would be more comfortable in my bin. That's right, it's about time I introduce you to almost the main character of this show. This right here is the has-been, and it will be home to many things over the coming weeks and months. Everyone say hello to the has-been! Some of you just said hello to a bin. Right, I'm bored of telling you all the rules, so now let's move on to what we've all come for, the topic. Dawdlers. We've all seen them, we've all been held up by them. The chances are you've probably been one of them. If you're sat there thinking, I'm not a dawdler, I haven't dawdled. You have. It's a bit like with how no one votes Tory. Obviously, some people have voted Tory, hence why we're in the mess we're in today. So, the native dawdler appears to have a slower than usual body clock. Sometimes it appears that they don't have a clock at all. They seem completely oblivious to things that everyone every day tries to do. Now, where can we find these dawdlers? They're found in most places, and most places where, ideally, people not being there would be better. So thinking of things like supermarkets, shopping centres, just basically anywhere where there's people. If I didn't know any better, I'd suggest that they were a cult, and that they're actually organised to disrupt the regular human being's life. But I do know better, I think. Pretty sure. Let me know in the comments if you remember a cult of dawdlers. You see, whilst dawdlers appear to be content with the 24 hours in a day, I don't know about you, but I've tried at least twice in my life to try and find a 25th hour. Sometimes there is just not the time at all. The worst thing about a dawdler is their unpredictability. The fact that they could do literally anything at any moment and give zero warning for it. They could stop. Literally without any kind of reason for it, it appears. They haven't been frozen to the spot by Dr. Freeze. They haven't been told to halt by a travelling policeman. They've literally just stopped, often in the middle of an aisle or a corridor, basically where there's little room for manoeuvre around the sides. There are a few reasons as to why dawdlers might just stop. They might think that they've reached their destination, or they've forgotten where they're going, or they think they've seen someone they know, and so a stationary approach is better for verification that they do know them, and then they can consider moving on for a conversation with said person, or even worse, having a conversation from their stopped position with the person that is now over the other side of supermarket, shopping centre, park, wherever you are. This happens all the time. There is one reason that we've probably all been guilty of our time, and that's getting something on your phone, whether it be a text, WhatsApp, Messenger, Snappy Chats, photos, whatever, airdrops, I don't know. There's probably something else that's come out in the time since I've recorded this, but anyway, you get the idea. And of course, some of them take our attention enough to have to stop. Some people feel the need to announce this. My mum does it all the time. She'll be like, oh, I've got a texty. We both know it's a text. Don't try and be juvenile here, mummykins. People take a both-handed approach with their phone. They've got these book covers. It's always a book cover, because they open it like it's some kind of Pandora's box and they're like, oh, look at this text, look what I've got. For story purposes, obviously they're wearing glasses and they've slid them right down the end of their nose and they can't see. Basically, I'm just describing what my mum does, because she is an utter pain in the arse when this happens. Literally stops in the middle of nowhere, usually with some kind of trolley or one of those old people I'm shopping things, I don't know, whatever they're called. Anyway, she stops, she reads the text, sometimes aloud, as if there are other people that need to hear it, which they don't, because more often than not it's just saying, yes, I'll come and put the bins out. Basically, the message is never really interesting to anybody else, but to them, it is. I'd say there needs to be a scheme, and I think I've got 3 ideas. Okay, so idea number 1. Basically, we measure the general public. their behaviour in shopping centres and supermarkets and general public spaces. Basically, these cameras would measure how fast people move. But let's say over a couple of weeks they track each person, and if they fail to reach over a mile an hour average walking pace, then they, along with whoever else is slow enough to be like that, are shipped off to a new Dawdle village. Name I haven't come up with yet, so if you think of a name for the Dawdle village, in the comments, that'd be great. Idea number 2. Now this is coming from my absolute partridge side, and that's because I think all public spaces should be fitted with travellators. Now, don't get ahead of yourself. I don't mean the penultimate apparatus and gladiators, no. Whilst that would be fun and essentially eliminate a lot of the problem. I mean the ones in airports where basically you just stand on them, it's like, taking you to gate E. I don't know any that have ever spoke to me, but that's what in my head they say. You would literally not be able to stop in a supermarket. It would take you aisle by aisle. You just stick your arm out. You miss things, tough luck. But yeah, and also, plus side, bonus, absolute bonus, if you see someone in the supermarket that you don't particularly like or haven't seen since school and you have literally nothing to say to them, this eliminates that because you can't stop to talk to anyone. Just don't be behind or in front of them when you walk in. Idea number 3, and this is perhaps the least likely due to the financial output of what would be required and definitely not the ethical backgrounds that any of these ideas have. So idea number 3 is that you fit every single human being with indicators and brake lights, and it is a law to use them. So basically they have to indicate, they have to let you know when they're stopping or slowing down, just so you have the chance to at least plan your route around the Dawdlers. This brings me quite nicely on to why it is that Dawdlers annoy me so much. Partly it's because usually Dawdlers have taken up an obscene amount of the pavement or the corridor you're in and you can't get past them, slowing you down. But most importantly, I've face planted into a stranger so many times because they've just abruptly stopped. Now I know what you're thinking, why are you walking so close to people? It's not that at all. Like, it's a case of that I think I can get past them, I've planned my route, and then an unpredictable arm flails out and smacks me in the face. It does happen. It must have happened to you. You must have either looked where you were going, or maybe you checked your phone but you didn't slow down, and boom, in you go to another person. Like most of you, in regular life conditions, I'm pretty busy, but I just can't understand how there are some people who have the lack of having to do anything. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty heavily influenced by Sonic the Hedgehog. I constantly see lives by levels almost, like obstacles and ways around, routes you could take, and within every level there's always a quickest way and then one that isn't quite so quick, and generally I'm always trying to find the quickest way so that I can get back to any kind of time where I want to do things for myself. But just like Sonic, if a dawdler / badnik in Sonic's case gets in the way, then we're going to go careering into him and have our bling flying all over the place. Obviously, the major difference between me and Sonic, apart from the speed, is that Sonic can jump on top of them and free little animals from inside them, whereas I essentially have a choice of 2 things, which is to either last minute dodge out their way, or most likely accept my fate and go crashing into the back of them. I don't like either of those options. I should never have had to choose one. I know what you're thinking, just slow yourself down, don't go as fast. Honestly, I would, but I like doing things that aren't like just going shopping, like sleeping or making entitled YouTube videos. It's definitely one of them anyway. The truth is, I just don't understand why people would be in public and not have a purpose. Obviously, there are medical conditions that slow some people down, and I'm not talking about them before anybody tries to get a little bit ahead of themselves. No, I'm not at all. I'm on about the people that literally have no excuse whatsoever for going at 3 millimiles an hour. That's not a unit of measure. I've just decided for the sake of recording that will do. Is life so uninteresting to you that the highlight of the day is standing in the Grosvenor shopping centre, taking it all in, perhaps seeing if any shops have changed, if any have gone out of business? Honestly, it just can't be a thing. Long and the short, if you're a dawdler, you're getting in my way, and I don't want you in my way because I don't want to touch you. So, my vote's been cast. Dawdlers are going in the bin. What about you? Are you a dawdler? Are you a dawdler sympathiser? Or perhaps you're a dawdler recovering. I don't know, some kind of Dawdlers Anonymous meeting group is probably going on somewhere in the world. There are people studying Beyonce at universities. This isn't the most out of the realms of possibility idea of the day, really, is it? Vote in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Also, if you have any ideas for things that should go in Room 10 Gone, feel free to drop me a message or drop a comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys and see what you would like to get rid of, because I think we have enough content for a few years here. And as with all these YouTubey type things, like, share and subscribe, all that chuff. And I'll bring you the results in the next video. Until then, tschüss, ciao and goodbye. And if you think that that's squirrel in his cake. Me and Sonic are pretty similar, to be honest. Yeah, we're both male.